Hey y'all, welcome to Cocktail Hour. I am Meg.
And I'm Nikki.
Today's midweek mini episode is a big just social media roundup. We're reviewing videos and posts that immediately make us stop and send them to each other, which happens a lot during the day, and we want to share them with you. So,
all right, this first one comes from @Emily from Kansas with 4 S's at the end on TikTok. And she says, 2025-2026 brides, I feel so bad for y'all. And I am reading the email from a makeup artist that she received with a quote. And here's the email and why she feels bad for 2025-2026 brides. This email says, thank you for your interest in blank for your wedding, which is a makeup artist. Typical rate is $25,000 for each travel day, in parentheses, times 3. Glam for the wedding day is $50,000. Business class flights for blank and her assistant, hotel accommodations in a pre-approved hotel, reserved airport transportation in Los Angeles and Sicily for blank and her assistant, and then any additional or necessary transportation, food, travel will be provided by the bride. So that's over $100,000 for a makeup artist, which in this case, I was telling Meg, this is technically, quote unquote, a celebrity makeup artist. However, for wedding day makeup, this is asinine.
yeah, this is rough. And it's hard because I'm definitely an advocate for charge your worth, but at the same time to inquire with a makeup artist and be like, hey, I would like essentially a middle class America home for doing your makeup. And it's already, so $25,000 for each travel day times 3. So there's 75, 50 for the wedding day glam. So we're at 125 grand without any of the travel, the business class flights, going out to Sicily, hotel, all this. Based on all of that, and I'm assuming what the expectation will be for the pre-approved hotel, we're probably nearing $200,000, I'm assuming. And
at least.
That is, even if I were a celebrity, I have to be honest. Now, granted, I don't have this kind of money, so maybe I'm talking out of my ass. But I look at things where I see people buy a $50,000 handbag, and I go, even if I were rich, that just seems like something I'd be like,
no.
Why the fuck?
I am not paying over $200,000 to fly somebody out to do my makeup.
No, absolutely not. I'm also wondering, is this the one job you have this year?
Yeah.
Or are you doing this every weekend? Because apparently I need to get into the makeup
I was just going to say, it makes you think and wonder, how much are these celebrity makeup artists making?
Yeah. Now,
okay.
if you're Kim Kardashian's one makeup artist who travels with her, who has nothing, you are on call for the 10 times a day.
That's your job.
Kim K needs her makeup done. That is your job.
Full time.
Get paid whatever you want to get paid. Okay, we know Kimmy's got the money.
She paying,
but
I bet,
I'm
too.
This seems kind of crazy.
Yeah, asinine, insane. So, okay, the next one is from @Vivi on TikTok. And it is a video of her on her wedding day. And she says she doesn't know it yet, but when she arrives at her venue, she finds out that her photographer that she hired 2 years in advance never showed up on her wedding day because they double booked that day and chose another wedding instead. Diabolical behavior. And a ton of the comments are like, well, didn't you follow up? Didn't you ask? Didn't you say this? Didn't you do this? And she says, I talked to him 2 weeks before my wedding day for our final call. Everything seemed to be normal. Everything seemed to be fine. And in this case, in my opinion, unless she didn't read her contract and go through every single clause, get a lawyer.
Oh, yeah.
Get a lawyer. I'm suing.
Even if he sent a photographer in his stead,
I'm suing.
I'm suing.
Suing.
That is insane to me. And even to me, this is a photographer red flag or wedding vendor red flag. If they have it in their contract that at any point they can send someone else if another opportunity arises.
Yeah.
Now,
Insanity.
I understand, hey, your mom died last night.
Yep, that's totally different.
Can't make it to the wedding. But, a bougier wedding,
no.
Inquired with me. No. I can't tell you how many weddings I've passed up on where I go, I would have made double the amount of money. It may have been a portfolio builder, whatever the case may be.
Could have gotten you more bookings at that specific venue.
Go,
it doesn't matter. Or it was going to be whatever. It doesn't matter. honestly, to me, I'm on the same boat with you. To me, it doesn't matter. I have a paying client who is wanting me for the services that I provide.
And we've agreed upon it.
And we've established a relationship to say, you trust me to come and shoot your wedding day. In what world am I going to pass that up because something better came along? Like, I agree.
That's why people get hit by buses, because they make decisions like that and karma comes back around. Okay, so this third video, I am going to post it, but for the listener, I can only describe what I'm about to show you right now. And it is, I'm going to call it out because I'm not trying to yuck anybody's yum. I'm going to give you credit where credit's due. At Jess Fairchild and James and Jess. And I got to be honest, I don't know if this is fake. I keep looking. I'm like,
I don't think it is.
Is this
I'm going to be very honest with you. I don't think this is prosthetics. I thought you meant fake in terms of whether they were faking this is what they wear for a wedding day or not.
Oh, no. I was wondering if they were faking the situation up top. But
those are her boobies.
For the listener, it is I'm assuming a photography duo who is showcasing like, hey, here's what we would wear to a wedding day. Very common video that we would watch. And you know, girl looks good. She looks great. She's showing off the goods. But y'all, if I ever saw a guest at a wedding looking like this, let alone a vendor, to me, this stopped me in my tracks. It was quite shocking. So I did share this to the Cocktail Hour stories. But again, for the listener, hop on YouTube or Spotify because I'll be showing this. And I just would love to know everybody's thoughts when it comes to this outfit. Do we feel like, hey, if you got it, flaunt it? Do we feel like, hey, maybe wrap things up a little bit? You're at work.
Well, what do you feel?
Wrap things up.
Yeah.
This to me is insane. I feel like I hate, and we just had this conversation, like, oh, you're wearing spaghetti strap? Like, boys can't focus at school. Okay, well, teach your sons to be better. Walking around like this,
this isn't a spaghetti strap.
You are asking men and women to stare at you.
And it's not because of being sexualized necessarily. Yeah. It's because the actual amount of skin that is being shown is not something that people are used to seeing on their day to day. And so that is something that I agree with. I don't agree with an open chest like that when you are at work.
Are almost showing, like,
right, exactly. So I definitely think this is taking things to a level that is way inappropriate and exaggerated, and that might not be everybody's opinion. That's my opinion on what would be appropriate for me to wear or not wear, because number one, I'm not there to stand out and to be the center of attention. I am there to be a fly on the wall, to blend in, to be as inconspicuous as possible so that your guests can have all of their attention on you. Yeah. I'm also not willing to risk a nip slip at work. Yeah. I am not willing to risk that.
One sneeze away from a pop.
And mind you, I am a smaller chested woman. This is not a smaller chested individual. And I love a big titty. Oh, yeah. I'm not going to lie. Like, cool. Yeah. If I had them, oh, bitch, you know what? I wouldn't be sitting here right now. I would have a different kind of set.
Yeah, I would be
making millions. Let me just tell you.
I'd be your photographer.
But in a situation where you are at your place of work, and you are not only at your place of work, you are at somebody's wedding.
Yeah.
It is, to me, wildly inappropriate. Yeah. If I wore something like that, even with a smaller chest, it would still be attention grabbing because of how much skin would be showing. I mean, it was out to here. The cut is to here. Yeah. So it would still, even though I don't have big boobies, people would still be like, Jesus Christ, look at that little boy's chest over there.
That's the thing, is it has nothing to do with how big the boobs are.
However, but they're there, baby. Mm-hmm. They there and they're out there. And I just personally, for me, it's not something that I could or would do necessarily.
I also am wondering, is this a rage bait situation?
Yeah, I'm wondering that
is this
too.
A video where you're just trying, but
looking to go viral?
They have turned comments off. So I'm assuming that they had a lot of people go, whoa, 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 whoa. I feel like if you showed up like that to a wedding, I'd expect one of the parents to send you. I literally, if the planner's already not going to be like, nope.
You need to go put a t-shirt on at least.
I'm assuming that one of the family members would be like, I'm really sorry, especially since there's 2 photographers. One of you can stay, one of you's got to go. Again, back to the corporate America thing. If someone showed up like that at corporate America, you cannot be here. There's a dress policy. Even you could show up in a Budweiser t-shirt and they'd be like, no.
Yeah.
Let alone a nipple coming out.
Yeah.
Anyways, so yeah, you guys check it out and let me know what your thoughts are. So next post, hot take. So this is from at Talia Cameraist. I think that's right. Hot take. You should be crediting your second photographer. You tag the florist, you tag the planner, you even tag the DJ. I feel like that's kind of a shit on DJ.
Yeah,
you
what?
even tag those idiot DJs.
Fucking bottom of the barrel. Like, are you kidding?
And even is italicized. Like, they're really hammering it in. But not the person who helped you tell the full story. Second shooters aren't assistants. They're photographers. They captured what you couldn't. I'm just loving the...
Shit.
Yeah. Yes, I've heard the excuses. What if they poach my clients? What if they try to compete with me? What if people get confused whose wedding client this was? If you're confident in your experience, your work, your brand, someone else getting credit shouldn't scare you. It should make you proud that they were on your team. There's more to it, but thoughts on that? I thought this would be fun to talk about since you literally second shoot for me. I'm curious.
I love when I do see a photographer credit a second photographer, but I don't find it to be a necessity. I do think a lot of the time too on social media, I don't find that photographers who are like lead shooting weddings, I don't think they're always posting on social media the second photographer's work. I think they are mainly posting like their main shots, center of the aisle. Like I think that's what they're mainly posting.
Yeah.
So if that's what you're mainly posting, then like why would you tag your second photographer?
Yeah.
However, if you're like, if I had a second and I took their, like, one of the shots that, like, they took, I think I would feel weird posting it and not tagging them in some capacity. Like, for example, Emma Mellon shot with me a few years ago, Emma Mellon Studios. She lives in New York now. But I remember she worked a wedding with me where, like, a lot of her shots, I was like, oh my gosh, these are so incredible. So like when I posted them in my stories or anything, I made sure to tag her. And when the venue posted, I asked them like, can you please tag Emma Mellon as well? Because I just felt like her work at that specific wedding really elevated like the gallery. And I would have felt bad, and I did. And I think I was also earlier in my career as a photographer that I felt uncomfortable not crediting her because I was like, Jesus Christ, like she really crushed that shit. And so in that circumstance, yes, but if I'm posting like photos that I'm taking at this wedding that I'm like, and also like as a second photographer, I don't feel like I need the credit. Like I'm going to use these images too. Eventually, I've been real bad at catching up on anything.
So I agree with what this post is saying, and I disagree to an extent because I think there are photographers who take it so fucking far and they're like, they won't let their second photographers share the work, or they won't let them take the vendors because they're afraid of the vendors sharing. I have to be honest, me tagging you as a second photographer, I actually think that does less for you than saying, go ahead and post your images and tag your vendors or tag the vendors, because I do want them to then reshare your photos. But if they reshare my photos, it's all going to come back to my account anyway. It doesn't quite matter. So I don't look at it and go, no, I'm not going to tag you. I just am like, it doesn't even cross my mind because I'm like, well, they have the photos. They're going to edit them. I've told them they can post and tag all the vendors. Yeah. Do you, boo-boo? Like, I'm not worried about people taking my business. If the vendors like your work and want to reshare, I do think that's awesome. Like, I do go, yeah, we had a great fucking team. But this whole thing of like, you have to tag your second photographers.
Yeah, I don't feel that strongly about it.
I'm going to be super sassy and be like, I've had second photographers. And if you've done this, no, judge me. But they will literally
I don't do that.
do their whole
I already know what you're gonna say.
And then they'll make a comment.
I
like,
would never.
Second shot for Louis photography. And I'm like, so why do I have
or
to
like
acknowledge
way under all the hashtags?
All the hashtags. So they're really trying to bury the fact. So I go, so you want me to acknowledge that you second shot the wedding, but you don't want to acknowledge that you second shot the wedding?
Well, I think there's a difference though, because I think people doing that probably couldn't give a shit whether you acknowledge if they second shot the wedding
That's
or
true.
not. So I think there is a difference in saying like,
and like the person that would do that.
It's the person. So this person sounds like they've had a very personal experience where they've maybe been shit on by photographers previously, and I do think it all comes back to personal experience. So like if you have had a shitty experience, I personally have not. And I also personally will tag that I associate shop for you in the first line. like I'll be like super grateful to have associate shop, because also like what a great experience to, you know, have these weddings to be able to shoot. Like I don't feel necessarily a certain way about it, but for somebody who maybe has been shit on, sure, whatever, I guess. But also, like, you are agreeing upon signing a contract that this is the job that you're signing up for.
Yeah.
If you want to be able to post all of these weddings on your own, book all the weddings on your own.
Yeah.
Like, don't get butthurt that your lead photographer is hiring you, paying you to do your job. You're agreeing to it upon signing a contract, and you're pissed because you're not getting tagged in a fucking Instagram post. Baby girl, work on your SEO. Like, work on the SEO, because nobody is obligated to tag you.
Yeah. If anything, they could have fought you and been like, okay, you're working for me, I'm paying you, you don't get the images afterwards. Like,
you're signing a contract.
The funniest story to tell you, and I won't name names, so hopefully they're fine that I tell this, but I was talking to another photographer who had hired a second. Her work looked fine. Gets to the wedding, and the girl's like, I didn't bring my flash. Sorry. I don't have a flash. And the photographer's like, okay, well, I don't think we're going to be inside much. Like, it should be fine. I'll probably send you home after, like, dinner or something like that.
So we don't need to use it.
Starts raining or something, like weather gets really bad. Everything gets moved inside. Needs a flash. Like, you know, whatever. Apparently this second photographer is on her phone all day. She is like, for dinner, she got up before the couple and went and ate, like all these different things. So the lead photographer at one point was like, you can go ahead and head out. Like, go ahead and head out. And then
please do me a favor and get the fuck
out of here. Sent a follow-up email to this person because they got the images back and barely anything was usable. Like, barely anything was usable from the second photographer because she didn't have a flash. Like, the photos were out of focus, whatever. So the lead photographer emails her and is like, look, I'm going to give her feedback just because, like, we're paid a good amount of money. If you think about $60 an hour, that in a corporate job, like, that's almost a six-figure job. $60 an hour is pretty good. So to pay that to a second photographer and barely get anything that you're going to use. So she gave her the feedback. The second photographer then goes and says, you know, I just want to make sure, please ensure if you're posting any of my photos on social media that you tag me. So I told this photographer who's telling me the story, I said, go grab the most shitty images
and tag them
and post them. And you don't have to post them to your feed, post them to your story and say thank you so much for these photos. That is the level of petty that I would go to, because if you're going to talk to me like that after I hired you, you did a shitty job.
I gave you a job.
You weren't prepared. You didn't bring the right equipment, and you have the audacity to say, make sure you tag me. Okay.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
No.
That's so funny.
It's ridiculous. Oh, but I will give you a shout. I'm pretty sure that for Haley and Dylan's wedding, a good chunk of the photos I posted were yours, because your SD card was the first one I popped in my computer.
Was it?
And I was like, oh, these are good. I was like, great, let me pick a few of these. And by the time I got to my SD card to cull, I was like, I feel like I got some good sneaks already.
Yeah,
so,
which is fine.
Shout out to you. You did a great job on that day.
That was a great wedding. I have not even gone through the SD card for it because I've just been trying to.
Though.
I know, but I'm like, I was so excited because like
it was stunning.
There's stunning images, and I'm sitting here like, I have to do admin and edit, you know, and not saying that editing all my galleries currently are not, they're amazing, but like
Yeah.
I just, you get so excited about certain things and then life and reality actually hits you and you're like, oh shit, like I can't even catch up on it.
There's weddings that I loved. I second shot a wedding out in fucking Portugal last year and I still haven't edited the whole thing because I'm like, I don't have the time. Just went to Georgia, which loved, by the way. I'm really glad I was
beautiful.
I'm glad I wasn't able to sell my ticket, but it'll be a year before I get to any of those pictures.
Okay. This next one is me.
Okay,
so
perfect.
I got this notification on Facebook from like some budget brides group that I'm not even a part of. It literally says join this group. But the post came up and probably like my algorithm being, creepy FBI listening to things that I probably talk shit about.
Yeah.
Somebody posted in this group, and I'm not going to say who and I'm not going to say what the group is, but the post is from a potential bride looking to book. She says, how are we booking photographers on a budget these days? Everyone is quoting me near $1,600 to $2,500. And to me, I'm thinking, well, that's not so much. And this bride is implying that that is an insane amount of money. And we have had this conversation before on this podcast. Weddings are a luxury. They are a luxury service. And so you have to have that mentality and that mindset. However, I want to read some of these comments because some of these wedding photographers in this group have me flabbergasted, starting with the first one. Wedding photography shouldn't be more than $1.5K for any reason. Shouldn't be more than $1,500 for any reason. There, I said it. I think what happened is that so many people decided that they wanted to quit their day jobs, and the only way they think that they can survive is by charging an arm and a leg for wedding photography. I understand the whole you get what you pay for, but I think the line has to be drawn somewhere between fantasy and reality. If you can't find someone charging 1.6 to 2.5. Okay, anyway, that's a different one. But basically, this is a photographer saying that people shouldn't be charging more than $1,500 per wedding. Thoughts?
So you could work every single weekend.
Yep.
And after taxes,
Yep.
you'd bring in $4,200.
Yep.
You are not just working a 8 to 10 hour day. You're probably on average for each couple working, let's say 30 hours. Okay.
Yep.
So that's $4,200 for 4 weddings. That is 120 hours roughly of working. So it's about $30 an hour. Okay. Your gear, all of these different things that I won't even wax poetic about, but $4,200 a month. Let's say you live in Minneapolis. Your mortgage, probably close to $2,000. There's 50%, right?
Don't even start on rent. Are you kidding me?
All of that stuff, food, just, it is insane to me to say $1,500. They clearly don't understand the work that goes into it
or value it. That is the problem here. You don't value it. And here are some examples of what people are suggesting. Look for photographers who are in the beginning stages of the career in your city. Lots of them would be willing to do it for lower end price range, and they have so much to prove to themselves that their pictures should come out great. Another person says, find people who just started and need portfolios. I had 2 people who would do it for free for my wedding, or they told me that I would just have to pay for gas. This is your wedding day. These are your wedding photos, and you are willing to compromise quality, expertise, experience, professional,ism, gear, time, knowledge for fucking gas money?
So, because here's my thing. Let's say you don't pay any money. You just pay gas.
No.
If something happened and they lost all the photos because they have gear from 1998, what are you going to do?
Yeah. Oh, none of your photos are in focus because you only paid them for gas to show up?
Because they're new and they don't know what they're doing.
And they need a portfolio. And so you're willing to use your wedding photos as an experiment for somebody to build their portfolio is fucking insane. You must not care about your wedding at all. Yeah. And I will say that there is some redemption in this post because there are people who are saying like, I would pay that in a heartbeat, or people who are saying that is insanely cheap.
Yeah.
Average is like $3,000 to $4,000 for an 8-hour day. Yeah. Somebody else says, if you find someone who is charging $1.6 to $2,500, I would book that because that's extremely low for the market average.
Personally, I would not book that.
I wouldn't either.
I'd be afraid.
I would be nervous, but somebody does say, honestly, the photographer is the only thing I'm not doing on budget. These photos are your memories of the day. It is what lives on when the day is over, and that's really important to me, that my photography is everything that I dreamed it would be. Everything else could be absolute crap, but with the right photographer, they can help make it look magical and feel magical. Yeah. Just food for thought. The one thing I would splurge on is the photographer. Yeah. Thank you. Because what the fuck?
Yeah. And here's my thing. Everybody can have, and we've talked about this, that there's a vendor for every budget. Yeah. But then don't go on social media complaining that
about $1,600 for a photographer.
Yeah. Because you know what? A fucking iPhone is $1,600. Yeah. Like, these are your memories for life, not only for your life, but for generations down the line. And I know that we're photographers. I know that we're a little bit biased when it comes to that. But I will say I've actually seen a big shift, and maybe it's just our market, but I've seen a big shift in the amount of money that people are willing to spend on photos, knowing that it is like, hey, I'm not having people who are like, hey, my budget's $3,000, $4,000. Yep. They're like, no, I understand that it's going to be a bigger chunk of change because this is the one thing you walk away with. So
crazy.
It's insane. Crazy. And I just, for the photographers out there, when I do see people who are like, oh, here's what's included in my, $2,000 wedding package. And it's like 12 hours of coverage, second photographer, la, 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 la. I get it. I've been there of offering all these things for a really low price. You are only going to burn yourself out, and you are not actually going to deliver as good of service as you think you are.
Yeah.
By doing all of those things, you are overwhelming yourself. It's not going to be a great client experience.
You're also doing a disservice to all of the other vendors who have taken the time to invest in education, to invest in really nice gear, to invest in the time to learn how to do everything that they're doing. And I think if you are somebody who's looking to do free work, then go second shoot or go shadow. Yeah. Do not offer to do somebody's wedding for free. At least if it's your first wedding, at least charge something to cover the cost of the time that it's going to take you to do all of the work that you have to do. I don't think it is in anybody's best interest to offer the work necessarily, like right off the bat, being like, I'll do it for free. I'll do it for free. I'll do it for free. I think you're doing everybody a disservice. And just like in, with some previous episodes, people have brought to the forefront and to our attention, like, what do you do about people who are offering to shoot at venues for free to get in there and to get the work? Like, they're doing themselves a disservice. Yeah. And I think same thing here.
And I just feel, as a couple, or really anyone in life, if something feels too good to be true, it probably is.
Well, and I think in these situations, it's not even too good to be true. It's just free. Like, that's crazy.
But free, low amount. If you were to go get a car and you're like, God, this seemed like he's offering to do this for a hand job, it might be too good to be true. You probably should pay $15,000 for that car.
I don't know if anybody thinks having to give a hand job for a car is too good to be. I wouldn't do it.
You wouldn't?
No. Not for a $15,000 car.
Okay. New 2025 Subi.
Not a Subaru. I'm not a lesbian. I'm just kidding.
I wish everyone could see my face. I'm like that lady. Have you seen that meme of the court show and the lady's like,
Yeah.
My dad sends me texts like that all the time. He's like, how's your Subi? But I'm just saying, number one, I would do that for a car. I think Adam would be mad at me if I didn't get us a new 2025 Subaru for a little HJ.
Then he can give the hand job.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, too good to be true. Nothing in life's free. Nothing in life, like, you're risking it, and you're not even risking it for the biscuit.
For your wedding day? That's crazy behavior. I couldn't do it.
Okay, last one is from @ForeverPaperCo. 7 wedding guest icks as voted for by you. So, what are your thoughts? Awkward gaps with nothing to do.
Awkward gaps?
Like gaps in the day.
But like as a vendor or as a guest?
I'd say guest.
I haven't been to a wedding in a long time unless I've been an active member of the wedding party or a vendor.
Yeah.
So I can't even imagine an awkward gap.
Yeah, right, because we're running and gunning the whole time.
Like, I
will say, if you're planning a wedding timeline, it is important that your guests are distracted by something at any given time. So if you're going to go out for golden hour photos, make sure they're either eating, make sure dessert's being served.
Or that like, they're dancing.
Yeah, something's happening, but don't just have it be where your guests are like, okay, what happening right now? Like, it's quiet. No, like, you don't want that.
Or I have seen weddings where there is a large gap between ceremony and reception. And a lot of the time that is out of the couple's control, especially if they are doing a church ceremony wedding. That can be out of their control. However, I do think that your guests do need to be kind of like accounted for, and it's your responsibility if you're hosting them, because really, if you are getting married and you're having all these people, yeah, in a certain sense, you're kind of hosting these people. You are the guest of honor.
Yeah.
However, you're essentially setting a timeline for like what your people are doing all day. So if there's like a weird chunk of time.
Also, just be ready that if you do have a big chunk of time between ceremony and reception, people are probably going to go to the bar.
Yep.
So just be prepared for that. If you're okay with that, that's okay. Okay, waiting forever during photos. I mean,
as a guest?
I guess. So I wonder if they're like, hey, things can't start because, you know, people are taking photos, but rarely would I see that happen.
And again, that sounds like a vendor team problem.
Yeah.
Like, you have to have that shit figured out with your vendor team. And if I am a guest and I have to wait, like, yeah, it is weird and uncomfortable. I would say that is an ick. Like, that's something that you should accommodate. Like, you should be planning for this stuff.
Yeah, agreed. Long, never-ending speeches.
Oh my God, please get the fuck out of here. Do the speeches at your rehearsal, the majority of them. Pick one or two people who you know are going to deliver a solid, quick speech at your wedding dinner.
2 minutes or less.
A quick toast that is either really funny or sentimental. Otherwise, please kindly sit down.
Yeah, I agree. I just had a 90-day meeting with a bride yesterday, and she's like, how much would you recommend, like, for a speech? I was like, 2 minutes or less. I said, anything more than that, also tell these people not to go up there and wing it, because even the best public speakers get up there in front of and they fumble. It feels so awkward.
Yeah.
At some point, I stopped taking photos. I'm like, this
Me
is
too.
a
I will sit down
wreck.
And you will see my eyes change.
Yeah.
I will go from
to be like, oh, this has gotten bad. It reminds me of the story we told last week where the groom ran into the woods because his best man told a story about him pooping.
God.
Ran into the woods. Cringy games.
Yeah, I'm not there for that.
I don't think we see those much anymore.
Thank God.
I'm sorry. I hated the shoe game. I was over it the moment I saw it.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't care which one of you
I was just
hogs
gonna
the
say,
covers.
I don't need to know who farts louder.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah. Or if it's like, all the questions are, who does the dishes? Who does this? I'm like, it sounds like one of you does everything around the house.
And the other you made the list.
Yeah, I'm like,
clearly, exactly you're the one who put this game out there because you wanted everybody to know that you're the one who's doing everything around the fucking house.
You're trying to prove a point to your person on your wedding day. I don't know what this means. Okay. Does it say no canapes?
I don't know because it's not in my note.
That's fair. And I don't know if that means no snacks or no covers from the sun. So you guys can roast me. No, there's two more. Sorry. Choreographed first dances that go on too long.
Oh, yeah.
You don't need a full 4-minute song. You just do a minute.
Unless you guys are dancers who are like professional on Dancing with the Stars and you have this whole thing, whatever. But if you are taking dance lessons to do a choreographed dance that lasts 6.5 minutes, again, we're gonna stop taking pictures at a certain point.
Oh, yeah.
And not to yuck anyone's yum because like, you do you. Yeah. We love you for what you want to do. However, from a photo perspective, I'm not photographing. I'm not giving you 600 photos back of your choreographed first dance because it lasted for 15 minutes. Yeah. There's not a shot.
And I have to be honest, the only thing that probably matters the most of that choreographed dance is the very end moment
where you're dipping and kissing.
Where you're dipping and kissing, and you're dipping away from me.
Yep.
Where I'm literally getting this.
Or the back of your head.
If we choreograph this so much, we should have been like, Meg is going to stand right here.
Yep.
We need to dip here for this photo if you want that photo op so bad.
However, as a guest watching this, I'm also sick of it.
Guests barely watch your first dance in the first place. I really love coming in, doing your entrance, and going right into your first dance.
I just told the planner that.
Yeah, everyone's excited. They love it.
My favorite.
Bada bing, bada boom. The last one is much of the same of just like standing around not doing anything. So we're gonna leave it at that.
Yeah,
that's all we had for our social media roundup, y'all. So thanks. I
love a good social media roundup.
I honestly think that's what we should do for our mini episodes. Just
what's viral at the moment? What are people talking about?
Things back and forth. We'll just start saving them.
Yep.
So thanks for sharing your hump day with us. Don't forget to subscribe, review the pod wherever you listen. I love that now is the time.
I know that he passes the fuck out. We fully recorded our Friday episode, and Opie the entire time. It was the most chaotic episode that we've ever recorded. Just wait till you see it.
Yeah.
We're unwell. There's microphones being licked, sniffed on, my shoes getting eaten, the dogs jumping, falling. And it was a long episode. So if you have a long car ride or anything coming up this weekend for a wedding, if you're heading up north, Meg and I are going to Nisswa on Saturday for a wedding tomorrow. LOL.
We recorded a little late this week.
But if you have a wedding this coming weekend that you're getting ready for, listen to Friday's episode on the way to your wedding, because man, we're all over the place, but it's long and it's full of shit. We talk about a lot of stuff. We cleared out the inbox from all of the submissions, so resubmit. Follow us on @cocktailhour.podcast on Instagram. The link is in our bio to submit. Like we said, we cleared out our inbox, so we're waiting for new submission stories, and we can't wait to hear from you.
Yeah, we'll see you guys Friday.
Bye.